Want help to grow your business? Download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Family Business Matters. My name's Gail Creighton-Davies, and today we're talking to Lloyd Russell to learn about strategic thinking for best practices in family business performance. So Lloyd, with family businesses, they must always think across generations when doing their strategic thinking, and also across three circles. Can you tell me more about the three circles?
Yeah, Gail, it goes back to the fact that, yes, the families are in multiple generations, and most businesses have a business and some ownership, and whatever that form of ownership is. But if the family has this other thing that's got everyone in there, and we have to understand where everyone fits inside the family, because a classic example is that, say for argument's sake, sadly a divorce happens and the children go away with the estranged partner. They are still the grandchildren of the family business member and that sort of stuff. So, you know, these things, while in the normal course of business we don't have to think about when we're doing strategic planning, and even if you do strategic HR planning and all that sort of stuff, it's really strategic HR planning on steroids, and because you've got to have multiple generations. So strategic thinking in a family business is way past the strategic thinking of normal businesses, because realistically the strategic thinking starts at around about a 5 to 7 year time frame, way out to 35 years and that sort of stuff, to capture a minimum of 2 generations, or the transition of the transitioning out of one generation and the guidance and moving of another generation coming in. And if you think about it, that, you know, a generation is normally around about 25 years, 25, even 30 years. And that's quite, you know, some are shorter than that. But so 35 years is you've got a grandparent and a child, you know, a grandparent and a grandchild. And so that they're inside that third circle, and they have to be taken into consideration, because they are the next leaders of your business. You know, there's an exiting leader, there's an incumbent leader, and there's a formative leader, if you think about it like that. So, you know, and if we stretch it over, so 7 years, you're still, you know, it's pretty hard to work out what's going to happen in 7 years' time, especially now. You know, we don't know. You know, there's so much global movement, you know, and technology is racing, and business models are changing up. But the other side of it is there's a really interesting statistic, and KPMG, I think, put this out not that long ago. They did the global figure, but that's a very, very, very big number. I'd rather focus on the Australian number, and that Australian number is there's about $6.3 trillion of family business wealth that will be moved or shifted in the next 25 years. Wow. Now, that's a big figure in a little economy, at the end of the day, a little economy like Australia. So it's incumbent upon family businesses, and they are thinking, you know, further out, that if I am going to continue, because it is family business continuity first, then it is succession planning, generation to generation, and estate planning and all that sort of stuff. But it's the unknown things that you've got to look at inside a family business. You know, if you're in a normal business and an employee leaves, well, the employee leaves. But if a family member leaves the business or doesn't bother coming into the business, they still have to be put into the family business strategy. And so it's looking at those sorts of things and understanding that that big family that big family has to be thought about from a strategic perspective. And then if you think about it, most businesses do strategic plans for 3 to 5 and at the very outside 7 years. Well, really family businesses do that as a business planning process. So they're long-term strategies. So their family strategies are the longer ones. Then they come into their corporate strategies, then they come into their business strategies, and then they come into their family, their normal business planning process. Whereas a normal business is just corporate strategy, business plan, and then a bit of implementation. So, and while there's only one more circle, you see how it gives you almost another 3 thinking segments that you've got to do.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not trying to make this very sophisticated or complex. It's just being aware of the fact that that's exactly how it is. And that's why family businesses are so much different. Now, if you embrace that thinking, it comes back in, it becomes an implementable strategy. And I know your background in that project management and strategic project management area. A strategy is a great thing. If you can't implement it, it's just a big dust collector. And again, as the topic says, it's strategic thinking for best practice for business performance. And so there's no coincidence that it's actually in 3 either. You know, so we're making sure that we think about those sorts of things, and every single family business does it. You know, we do it in our family business, family businesses that I work with. You know, we make sure we do that. It's not easy, because at the end of the day, it's about the business as well, because that generates it. So yeah, it's that really complex. But again, I know we talked about it in the previous subject about previous session about family dynamics, and it's that balance between EQ and IQ.
Yeah.
Because you can have a lot of IQ and a beautiful business plan, and it can be implemented and all that sort of stuff. But how do you handle this stuff out over the sky? Yeah. And in a normal business, you go, yep, that's blue sky. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But if you've got a 3-year-old daughter coming along, it's not blue sky, is it? It's real.
Yeah.
It's real, because this 3-year-old in 30 years' time is going to be a 33-year-old and possibly have kids. And so you're not going to dwell on it. You're just going to make sure that things sit in place. And I think this is the power of a family business as well. How many corporate strategies have you seen in your life that are beautiful documents, and you see it in governments and that sort of stuff as well? They're beautiful documents, and I would have loved to have been the graphic designer in those documents, because I think they probably made the most money out of it. Yeah. But, you know, a family business, a family strategy, and that might be on 2 sheets of paper, you know? But it is implementable, and it's always implementable. Why? Because they've got not only skin in the game, they've got humans in the game. And that's really, really, really critical to understand. And those humans have got a personality. Those humans have got a life to live. And so that's why it's that long term and the 3-circle type thing. It's what makes family businesses unique. It's what makes them flexible. It's what makes them innovative, because they are thinking of continuity first. And that continuity isn't just the term of the CEO. If he's got a 5-year contract, it's the term of the CEO. No. And you can't walk away from it. You know, at 50-year-old, you can't walk away from the family and you live till you're 90. You've got to live with the consequences of your decisions as well. So it's not it's both ways. Yeah. Yeah.
That's very powerful, very, very strong. And so how do family businesses go about doing that? I know we talked about in the dynamical in the session about the family business dynamics, about the family charter, and then we touched on the next gen forums. So how do we actually start building that so that we do have that continuity and they do have the purpose going forward? Can you tell me more about that?
You've got to stick to business principles, and I think we've got to understand that as well. That it's still about business principles, but it's also about family values and the legacy and the family principles, and that sort of stuff. So it's about it's about engendering the fact that this is about continuous improvement. It's about continuous accountability. It's about there is no hiding. There is no excuses. And because you can't move on and go to a different country or a different state or a different town or a different industry or whatever, and part of your history comes with you, but it doesn't. The history is there all the time, but it's not only there for the family, it's there for every other person to see, because you might have 2 generations of people working in your family business as employees, and they know the history as much as what you do, and things like that. Now, that develops the need for a different risk type analysis and that sort of thing, because they're not insurable risks, they're not the normal risks that you can do, and you're in that field, project management and that risk understanding, looking over the horizon and going, well, what if, let's put a milestone in here and that sort of stuff. It's very much understanding that these risks are perceived to reality is a very short crossover in a family business, because it's a behavioural thing and all that sort of stuff. So understanding that even from a young...
To continue enjoying this presentation, download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.